a lovely good evening today, the 28th of November 2021. To present Camnet TV main news, my name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Top stories in the news tonight: an opposition leader charges that things are becoming worse under the UPND administration. A Lusaka woman burns 6-year-old nephew with a hot knife. Government accused of indirect privatization for putting INDENI on care and maintenance. In international news, Chinese bank takes over Uganda's only international airport. And in sports news, fashion SAKALA scores in Rangers win.
On Monday, 29th November 2021, on National Matters, join Dr. Lubinda Habazoka as he hosts Honorable Anthony Mumba, Kantanshi Member of Parliament, an economist, at exactly 20:45 hours as they discuss 2022 national budget, what's in it for the Zambians.
Invite others to participate through phoning on Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp and text messages. Make a date with us. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Hello once again, another news in detail. A 24-year-old woman of Lusaka's Old Kanyama township, identified as Lavina Chileshe, has left her neighborhood in shock after she allegedly burned her 6-year-old nephew's hands on allegations that he had stolen relish from the pot. Meanwhile, some residents are demanding the matter be taken to court for justice to take its course. Ms. Chileshe is said to have used a hot knife to inflict pain on the victim as a way of disciplining him. Miriam Kaimba has more in this report.
The story of a 24-year-old woman of Lusaka's Old Kanyama compound who is alleged to have used a hot knife to inflict pain on a 6-year-old nephew after she accused him of stealing relish from a pot continues to take center stage in Kanyama compound, with the community demanding that the matter be taken to court for justice to take its course. Lavana Chileshe is alleged to have injured the victim on several occasions, and only the community came to the rescue of the boy and reported her to the police.
So mukupita kwanda tenzona chabema sungidu mamenezo nkhalira amonata after na bwana mvera kuti uja mwana banamushoka ndipo mena kama imwe nacho uyu mwana anapia bwanji ndio kwamba mufunsa jamana namushoka tia natenga na ifi na ikapa muliro after yapya ndipo mena namushoka nanga chifuka cha chanja mena namushokera ndio kuchosa mayo kamba ati yayi uyu anachita chani anabandiyo mpodo na banafunsa na timanje zamnezo ndio zenze ndio bwanji ati zenze zambiri chabe then ndio bwanji sana kambe ndio zamne anaba mwana so ndepa mena bwana muyanga na kumanja manje iwe potenga na ifi kuikapa muliro mtima wako unomvera bwanji unachimvera bwanji waika na ifi waembekeza yapya na mwana umuyanganira paka watenga na ifi jo mushoka kumanja.
Sunday morning, Camnet TV took a visit to the victim's house to check how he's faring. However, this reporter was informed that the alleged suspect ran away from the house after being released on bond, and the victim is nowhere to be seen as well.
Okay. Ndio mametina nkhalira ku nyumba. Kuseni kwa kaya na kukuja kumvera cha befu tusatu ja muntu anachita chani bana muchosa. Cha ndiye pamechina bwacha dabusa manje anamuchosa mjira bwanji nisiwa napeza po kuti usana lakwe. Ndako zimuntu ngatapeze kanuo lako afunika notata ndiziwe achite chana aweruziwe kuli boma. Maana ka iyanganepo boma kuti uja muntu kuchoka ngati azakabwenza pofu akachoka akasaza kabwenza pofuti na bantu bena ngoti baphunzirirepo.
The Concerned Citizen for Justice and Human Rights Organization have appealed to the public to respect children's rights if they are to remain on the good side with the law.
We are appealing to the authorities to take keen interest to the bottom of this matter. We don't want this lady who abused the child to scot-free. And we are also appealing to the government to take an interest where the child, how the child will be taken care of. And also, better the mother of the child or the father of the child to take care of the child, because the child is not in the safe hands. And we are also appealing to those who may be abusers of the children to stop this habit, because the government is losing a lot of resources to prosecute these matters.
In Zambia, assault on a child attracts a jail sentence of not less than 5 years. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Street vendors in the central business district of Lusaka fear losing the slots they operate from if the government does not find a permanent trading place. In an interview with Camnet News, the vendors say the Ministry of Small, Medium Enterprises and Development should find ways of permanently accommodating them. Meanwhile, Minister of Small, Medium Enterprise and Development, Elias Mubanga, in an interview with Camnet News, has assured the vendors that their plight is being taken into consideration. More in the following report.
The problems faced in Lusaka between the local authorities and street vendors are found in all cities all over the world, especially in developing countries. Street vending is one of the major activities in the informal economy, and it is also known to be an odd practice that has always had a presence in the composition of cities. However, street vending in Zambia is illegal and considered as a public nuisance. And with the new Dawn government making it clear that they want to abolish street vending, street vendors in Lusaka, Central Business District, fear of losing the slots they operate from if government does not find a permanent place for them to conduct activities.
But manje pali new government yamene abwera tikuna babwere batiuze ndabya zitizi batimverera kuli imwe so tikuna bantu babwere batipunzise ngati yenzeko kudala stikana batize stizi babwere batiuze na ma benefits alimo na babetu ngotita kuti tingale ma members
tivutikira pali this time this etachita bwanji taikonda mamini oro kudala kwenze kunabwera youth empowerment and sure ndrama zenze zinachoka but ise my youth libendrama yametinacha so ngati I government yamelipo ifuna kutitandizira muri I program tizambera munchi chifukwa at least imwe mwame mwatikonga and tikali wishing out mukatikonga at least mukatipunzise monse mwame vizamboendera vintu.
They have since called on government to find them a permanent structure to operate from.
Ngati ya sevenza amene minister mwasha introduce azakankala kupita even all 15 or 20 years new government amene serious nda because bantu amene sibasebenza ni bangono bantu amene sibasebenza ni bambili than bantu amene basebenza bamene basebenza ni bangono bamene sibasebenza ndiye bambili ngoma point bamene basebenza ni bangono bamene sibasebenza ndiye bambili so manje maminzi yotandiza baje bantu amene sibasebenza kai ndiye bambili.
Meanwhile, Minister of Small, Medium Enterprise and Development, Elias Mubanga, in an interview with Camnet News, has assured the vendors that measures have been put in place to find a permanent structure for them to operate from.
I need to have a chat with them, explain to them their involvement. We don't want them, that's another thing that you should be able to understand. We don't want people to be in the streets. We want to liaise with them and find out which areas they can go to and promote their businesses. These who are selling vegetables, these who are selling tomatoes, those that are selling various things, including salaura, but they are in streets. Those are under my ministry, and I need to meet them and tell them what we need to do. We need to help them get skills. We need to help them change their mind towards their business.
It is the mandate of the Zambian government to put up formal market infrastructure across the country so that street vendors can trade in orderly, safer, and good environment. Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
President Hakainde Hichilema has reminded Zambians to get vaccinated in order to defeat the COVID-19 pandemic. In his Facebook page posting, monitored by Camnet News, President Hichilema says the COVID-19 pandemic remains prevalent in the communities, hence the need for citizens to get vaccinated. The president has further reminded citizens that the country is back on the UK's red travel list, which means that there are restrictions on people traveling from Zambia and the region due to the new COVID-19 variant called Omicron. On Friday and Saturday, a number of countries announced new measures in the wake of the new variant of COVID-19 detected in South Africa. Travelers from South Africa, Namibia, Zimbabwe, Botswana, Angola, Mozambique, Malawi, Zambia, Lesotho and Eswatini will not be able to enter the UK unless they are the UK or Irish nationals or UK residents. Japan has equally announced that from Saturday, Travelers from much of Southern Africa will need to quarantine for 10 days and take a total of 4 tests during that time. New Heritage Party President Shalakateka has questioned the United Party for National Development government's ability to plan and put the country back on the right economic path. Ms. Kateka charges that the 3 months that the New Dawn government has spent in power, citizens are still not clear with their economic policy direction. She reiterates that the pronouncements and their actions appear to be at variance, hence the confusion.
It has been 3 months of UPND in power, and we at the New Heritage Party, along with many other stakeholders, are still not clear with regard to the economic policy direction of this New Dawn government. Their pronouncements and their actions seem to be at variance, hence the confusion. As the New Heritage Party, our thinking is that the UPND could have focused on reducing the exchange rate and stimulating economic growth through higher productivity and lower costs of borrowing. We ask the question, is increasing the electricity tariff the only answer available to them? Have they considered dealing with the serious in-house issues relating to ZESCO as a priority? We haven't heard anything about dealing with the ZESCO issue.
Economic and Equity Party leader Chilufya Tayali has charged that things have become worse under the United Party for National Development administration as he opposed intentions to revise upwards fuel prices and electricity tariffs. Mr. Tayali pointed out the delay to pay farmers, contractors, and alleged failure to safeguard the plight of civil servants through salary increments as promised when in opposition. He says increasing fuel prices and electricity tariffs will see prices of all essential commodities rise and thus affecting mostly the poor people. The details in this report.
It is obvious that many citizens have not yet recovered from the previous electricity and fuel adjustments effected under the Patriotic Front administration and prior to the August 12 general election. Following the depreciation of the kwacha, the PF avoided making adjustments to the pump price by revising taxes in the importation of fuel.
Zero rating of the value-added tax on petrol and diesel. Additionally, excise duty has been removed on diesel, while the petrol excise duty has been reduced from 2 kwacha 7 ngwe to 64 ngwe per litre. The pump price, therefore, remains the same.
However, the UPND is gathering courage to increase fuel prices and electricity tariffs, a move Economic and Equity Party leader Chilufya Tayali charges that undermines the people's confidence in the UPND administration.
Very clear that there is an intention. The intention is to bring prices down. The process can take you up and down.
This is, from my point of view, the UPND are actually a disappointment so far. Especially, look, I'm talking about human welfare and human development. There is a disappointment there, because we all know that people voted out PF because of suffering. That is why. There is nothing that you can talk of. People voted out PF because they were suffering. Commodities prices of commodities were high, and the PF were oblivious of what was going on because themselves they were enjoying. They didn't care.
It tells Camnet TV News that fuel and electricity are major economic drivers, hence increasing the price will further see a rise in the cost of living, which is above 8,000 according to the JCTR Basic Needs and Nutrition Basket.
Since UPND came, life has become even worse. The economy, as we are talking, is locked because since UPND came into power, they are not releasing money to people through payments. We are just talking about farmers, very essential people. They have not been paid. We're talking about youths, those who are working as interns. They have not been paid. We're talking about people who supply to government. They have not been paid. We're talking about civil servants who they were promising that when they come, they will increase their salaries and they will pay them their arrears. All this has not been done. And yet, they are now talking about increasing the essential commodity, the engine of the economy, fuel.
He says it is against this background that he is seeking parliamentary office through the vacant Kawata seat with the view of holding the New Dawn administration accountable.
No, Wanalumango, she's, ducking, going this way. Today she says, yes, we need to do this. Then, no, we don't have this agenda. But clearly, you can see that these people, they don't know how to turn around the economy, to bring money in the pockets of people. They don't know how they need to turn around the economy to bring prices of goods down. They don't know. They don't know of how they're going to reduce fuel, because what they should have been looking at, what they should be grappling with, is to reduce the prices of fuel and electricity for domestic consumers. This, they don't seem to have a clue. But I'm going to Parliament. I have a lot of suggestions which I'm going to put on the floor of the House in the interest of the country, so that maybe they can implement and the people can benefit.
In Zambia, history has proven that when prices go up, they never come down, but workers' earnings remain stagnant. Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
Patriots for Economic Progress leader Sean Tembo is disappointed with the government's decision to put INDENI petroleum refinery on care and maintenance. Mr. Tembo has charged that it is apparent that the privatization, which is allegedly being imposed by the International Monetary Fund (IMF), has commenced already, despite the government not stating which national assets are earmarked for privatization. Mr. Tembo has observed with concern that vital national assets are being portrayed as redundant to drive the narrative that these institutions will be better off in the hands of the private sector, therefore need to be privatized. He charges that the New Dawn administration does not appear to be transparent in its dealings of national assets.
The government was talking about increasing fuel prices, saying that the cost has gone up. But then how can you address the issue of the cost if you are closing key institutions such as INDENI oil refinery? That is the question. And also, from our standpoint, it appears evident that the privatization which is being imposed by the International Monetary Fund has kicked in already, despite the fact that government has not been express on this matter to advise the Zambian people which national assets are being earmarked for privatization. We say so because we've seen a pattern whereby systematic national assets are being portrayed as redundant, including institutions such as ZESCO, with the aim of trying to drive the narrative that these institutions would be better off in the hands of the private sector and that therefore they need to be privatized. And this is a source of concern to us because the New Dawn administration does not appear to be transparent in its dealings of national assets. If you are going to make any decisions about national assets which you inherited, you did not produce those assets yourself, you inherited those assets, and you are making critical decisions regarding those national assets, you need to be very transparent to the Zambian people.
Opposition Patriotic Front PF member of the Central Committee Stephen Campiongo insists that he harbors no intentions to be PF party president when President Lungu steps down. Mr. Campiongo, who is also Shiwangandu constituency member of parliament, said he is happy with his position as elected member of the PF and member of the Central Committee. Speaking when he addressed scores of Mutitima residents in Nkulungwe village in Shiwangandu yesterday, Mr. Campiongo thanked the people of the area for resoundingly voting for him to represent them in parliament. He says he will serve as parliamentarian and member of the Central Committee.
Nine MP. No manga naisa muposa kunu mana tiyo na mpose Shiwangandu ile ndefu ayichumpando chikuru mkati ya mutuntulu. Ine pano ndiye murayo kutila mwansalanga kashitiwa mnganda mafuni. Na muchipani cha PF nalikuwa tabu we MCC. Ndevo mbe milimo. Batila mukoro wa minanshi akamulingire kwa mukoshi. Ndala pitisho kuombe milimo. Elo ndiye mulano kutila ine imomba muchichetekelo.
Ahead of the forthcoming by-election in Lusaka's Kabata constituency, a social scientist, Innocent Colada, calls for a peaceful political environment. The Kabata seat fell vacant following the demise of then area member of parliament NEPHEW Kandawire in a road traffic accident, and the Electoral Commission of Zambia is yet to set a date for the poll. Various people have shown interest to vie for the seat, and Mr. Colada is optimistic that leaders will be proactive in discouraging political violence.
The political parties, please try to tame your cadres or your supporters. A true cadre is supposed to be speaking what you have put in your own manifesto.
This call has been regular, but the opposite has always happened. In the Zambian political landscape, violence has been a common feature, worse during a by-election with people getting injured, others losing their lives. The outcomes have been bad, with victims suffering beyond political interests, left with regrets of the burden to survive with their families, just like this man who was shot in Lusaka's Chawama constituency.
Panauka chongo china chitika tinadabo one of PF member anachoka nobochosa pistol non-shooter my bullets abiri. I think mzao na mwantu mwamene ananchitira the ananchita operation. Now uyu muntu kuchokera hapa amene banabo bamugwira bamuchosa up to date sa kuliye nkani ko yenda onse nkani iliche pansi ili news zira aenda boasting akuti all government inabwera kubevenga nchite because ine nisenza nchite olimba ndine plamba so hapa sini kwanza kusenza nchite ikulu siningakwanise bana banga pasoni vutika bana winangu ali kuyunza nikanga oti nikwanise ndrama oti nchite bwanje mwenezo kwanisira bana banga utabwanje kubatandizira.
The United Party for National Development UPND, while in opposition, was a major victim of this vice, and since attaining office, Zambia's 7th Republican President Hakainde Hichilema renounced violence and affirmed governance by the rule of law. The country will be hosting a by-election within 90 days as prescribed by the law, following the death of Kabata Member of Parliament NEPHEW Kandawire. And social scientist Innocent Colada calls for a peaceful election.
We do not expect a situation where you should start hacking each other just because of politics. We do not expect that you start maiming each other, name calling, insults, all sorts of things, become tribal. It doesn't augur well, and there is no need, fellow Zambians. Let the person whom God is going to give us be the person to take the lead in Kawata constituency.
He urges leaders of political parties to take a lead in combating violence.
Please, the leadership, the top leadership of our political parties, let's live within the realms of law as provided for under Article 60. You, the political parties, you have been created. One, if you are in opposition, is to offer, of course, a genuine checks and balance. Not only that, you are supposed to be preaching to us what the Constitution espouses, and not encouraging violence. I still repeat, no violence. No one would have loved to see the demise of Honorable Kandawire.
With a number of people expressing interest to contest the Kawata parliamentary seat, one only hopes the poll will reflect the will of the people. Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
Democratic Party President Mr. Harry Kalaba has advised the recent University of Zambia UNZA graduates from the School of Law to wisely apply the knowledge they have obtained in order to make Zambia a better country for everyone. Speaking during the 2021 graduation celebration for the recently graduated law students of the University of Zambia at Chita Lodge in NEPHEW district yesterday, Mr. Kalaba told the former law students that the country is counting on them, hence reminding them the need to use their professional skills in a sober and responsible manner.
You make all of us proud. You are contributing to a Zambia that we are all desiring to have. And as you go in the world, I can tell you that you are going equipped with the knowledge, but use the knowledge wisely so that we can make a better country for all of us. Okay? So mine is to wish you the very best. God richly bless you and yours. Enjoy responsibly And as you go out in the world there, I know that Zambia can count on you, and I will count on you for sure.
Bishop Joshua Maponga, a motivational speaker and social entrepreneur, has urged African countries to develop their own entrepreneurs so that for the development of their respective countries. Bishop Maponga tells journalists that reliance on foreign investors will continue to undermine the continent's ability to become economically independent. The popular bishop, who originally hails from Zimbabwe, says time has come for African governments to take serious the concept of adding value to its mineral resources, as opposed to the prevailing trend of exporting raw materials. Bishop Mapoma says Zambia's move to create the Ministry of Small and Medium Enterprises is commendable, saying it is a catalyst towards taking control of the commerce and trade industry, which he said is vital for maximizing exports while minimizing imports.
When a political leader comes in through liberation and he comes into power, unless he intentionally practices what I might want to call preferential procurement, where you deliberately and intentionally as a government begin to invest your money into small, medium enterprises, that is the future. If we don't take that direction, it simply means that the colonized must constantly be taking their money and fueling it and giving it to the same colonized that we're here. I will not have time to talk about religion. But colonization was a full project that looked at social reengineering in all its fraternities. And I think a project such as this, where as African children are beginning to say, let us talk, let us find our resources, let us align and create value chains, production lines, end to end, and patronize our businesses as Africans. You know it very well if a Chinaman could come right now to the location and put his shop right there, and an African puts his shop right there, the African will patronize more, the Chinese shop 10 times more than they can patronize their own businesses. Not knowing that every time you're putting your money into white businesses, into Chinese businesses, into Indian businesses, you are removing money from yourselves as Africans. And I think the conversation needs to start right now. You cannot walk up to China and open up a supermarket and think that you survive. They have laws and regulations that restrict foreigners from participating into their economy. But when they come into the African economy, it looks like they have a check where they must just add the zeros, as many as they want.
You're watching Camnet TV and not just another channel. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
This is the Rusitu Irrigation Project. It's a government project funded by the World Bank through IDSP.
The project involved laying over 18 kilometers worth of interlinked water pipes that will supply water to the 280 hectares land for small-scale and commercial farmers in Lusaka of Chirundu district. We worked on 35 kilometers of the road network and also constructed 159 concrete water hydrants of different sizes in all 3 tiers. The state-of-the-art water pumping station at the banks of the Zambezi is fitted with 9 water pumps, a dedicated concrete reservoir, a 500 kV automated standby generator, a fully automated pump switching system that is interlinked with a second reservoir of 27,000 cubic liters capacity, which is fitted with 7 water pumps, a standby generator, and floater tanks for that extra water pressure on the irrigation lines. Savenda Construction is grateful to the Zambian government and the World Bank for giving us the opportunity to be part of the history of Lusaka, as the project will benefit over 282 households once completed, and is just one of the many that Savenda Construction has embarked on, owing to its track record and capacity to deliver as per requirement. Savenda, save nations, develop Africa.
Spirit of infirmity never had a legal right in here anymore because she was healed in her soul. He also took care of that accusation in the court where he said, I loose you, and that means to acquit someone of a crime.
Why does he say, be strong and be courageous, Bamutale? Number one, you've got to be strong. You've got to be courageous when claiming the things that belong to you.
If you're up against principalities and powers,
en contra de
and Satan is knocking you around,
y el enemigo te está dando contra ti,
put praise on in your car.
pon alabanza.
Put praise on.
So we must learn to depend on the Holy Spirit to tell us what these things are and what's the next thing and what the church ought to be doing, rather than conform to everything that is going on.
He says you're blessed. He says flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father.
He will preach the gospel with great power and influence, I say, even to the nations of the earth. And I began to prophesy his destiny. As I did that, the Spirit of the Lord said, now rebuke the spirit of depression.
The mystery of your unfulfilled prophecy is found in what I'm saying today, if you hear what the Spirit is saying, because the King is speaking.
That everything that God has given you will flourish, because you have his mind like never before, in Jesus' mighty precious name.
On Monday, 29th November 2021, on National Matters, join Dr. Lubinda Habazoka as he hosts Honorable Anthony Mumba, Kantanshi Member of Parliament, an economist, at exactly 20:45 hours as they discuss 2022 national budget, what's in it for the Zambians.
Invite others to participate through phoning on Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp and text messages. Make a date with us. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Africa is rising to a new dawn of integrity and accountability. Are you tired of being swindled or buying fake or illegal properties? Would you like to sell or buy genuine property? Would you like to list your property on both local and international market? Don't waste your time. Call the professionals, the SGK Properties, on +260 762 166 018. SGK Properties. Your business assurance is our priority.
Welcome back. We'll continue with the news. Movement for Promoting National Values and Principles, Chief Executive Officer Josek Kunda has urged the United Party for National Development government to concentrate on fulfilling their campaign promises. In an interview with Camnet TV, Mr. Kunda says it is worrying to see the increasing number of seats being nullified by the High Court. Mr. Kunda says that by-elections will be a costly undertaking for the country, which he says has limited resources.
We are foreseeing a situation in case the Constitutional Court could also uphold those decisions that are made by the High Court. Then we are likely to see Parliament dominated by the UPND alliance-led administration, which would not be very conducive to our democracy. Hence, we feel this is unwholesome and it's not a conducive situation. It's our wish and hope that the Crown Court, the Constitutional Court, which is the Supreme Court in all constitutional matters, might decide matters in favor of the Patriotic Front so that some seats could be retained, because we want a balanced parliament. We want at least to have the opposition, the strongest opposition in the country, to provide checks and balances for the government of the day, and that will enhance the governance system in our country. And we are also getting worried because instead of the UPND government concentrating on fulfilling their promises, They are paying a lot of attention to elections that took place in August.
The Interparliamentary Union, IPU, has, through its IPU Health Advisory Group, called on member countries to work together in finding solutions to end child and women rights abuse on the internet. Speaking in Madrid, Spain, at the 143rd IPU Assembly, President for IPU Advisory Group on Health, Given Katuta, notes that in the wake of COVID-19, women and children are being victimized through cyberbullying and online sexual abuse. We have more in the following report.
The Interparliamentary Union, IPU, has through its IPU Health Advisory Group called on members to work together in finding solutions to end child and women rights abuse on the internet. During its 143 IPU Assembly held in Madrid, Spain, President for IPU Advisory Group on Health, Given Katuta, has noted the need for collaborative efforts by stakeholders towards ending child and women online sexual abuse.
The 143rd IPU, where we've been discussing, of course, women's rights, especially women's rights and children's rights, and also to see how we can end child sexual harassment because of the new technology and because of the pandemic. The technology has played a huge role in reaching out to children when they were away from school, but it has also a big adversary.
Ms. Katuta says the COVID-19 pandemic and the advancement of technology pose a great challenge in protecting the young girls from being victimized to child online sexual abuse. Hence, they need to put strict interventions that will protect them.
We about 179 countries. We've agreed that indeed this has a negative impact. The pandemic plus technology has brought negative impact on our children because of what they are being exposed to. Most of the children through this technology or internet, they've been exposed to things like pornography. Also, some children have been introduced to some, I'll call them these men who go for young ones using internet.
The Interparliamentary Union is an organization comprised of various parliaments across the world to discuss various issues affecting the global community. Alex Shimba, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Police have detained a pastor of True Righteous Pentecostal Church identified as Kalengwa Walia, aged 34, of Shapi Village in Chief Chimense in Masa District on allegations of defiling an 8-year-old female juvenile. Confirming the development, police spokesperson Ray Hamonga has disclosed that the incident is alleged to have occurred on the 24th of November 2021 at an unknown time. Mr. Hamonga said the medical report form was issued to the victim and the matter was reported to the police by the mother of the juvenile of the same address as the suspect.
Police have detained a pastor of True Religious Pentecostal Church, male Kalengawala, aged 34 years, of Shapi Village in Chief Chimense in Masa District on allegations of defiling an 8-year-old female juvenile. The incident is alleged to have occurred on the 24th of November 2021 at a known time. A medical form has since been issued to the victim. The matter was reported to the police by the mother of the juvenile of the same address as the suspect.
The Lusaka City Council Mayor Chilando Chitangala has disclosed that the local authority will introduce a bylaw to compel citizens to take responsibility in cleaning their surroundings. She says the bylaw will attract penalties for non-compliance. She has since called on citizens to take a keen interest by participating in the monthly cleaning exercise. She made the remarks during a recent stakeholders meeting.
It's to central government or to local governments alone. So we are cleaning the drainages and we want everybody to take part, and I'm so passionate about cleaning the city. So I will ask all of you to take part in the last Saturday of every month to clean just even your outside. 5 meters outside. There will be a bylaw coming. Sound like is here. We suggested about a month ago, not even 3 weeks ago. Well, make sure that the bylaw, where you will pay a fine if you don't clean the outside of your houses, 5 meters, or just a frontage of the drainages, because I think it's important that, I don't think any of us want to partner with 20 kwacha or 50 kwacha just because you're not cleaning your outside. So this is a campaign for each and every person living in the city.
This is Camnet TV Main News. We take another break. We'll be back with more in international and sports news.
Team, the trajectory of the business looks very positive, and it looks like we'll be able to launch the ministry. Has so much data.
Mom.
Yes, baby.
It says here, global warming and climate change is caused by the pollution from careless activities of human beings.
Wow!
Son, do you know I can turn my phone into a TV remote?
How's that possible?
It's so easy. Check this out.
Be smart, be fast with mega data from Zamtel. Get your 15 GB mobile data for only 100 kwacha, 30 GB mobile data for only 200 kwacha, and your 70 GB LTE data bundle with free Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Visit our Facebook page, website, or service centers countrywide for more information. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes, and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
On Monday, 29th November 2021, on National Matters, join Dr. Lubinda Habazoka as he hosts Honorable Anthony Mumba, Kantanshi Member of Parliament, an economist, at exactly 20:45 hours as they discuss 2022 national budget, what's in it for the Zambians.
Invite others to participate through phoning on Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp, and text messages. Make a date with us. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Africa is rising to a new dawn of integrity and accountability. Are you tired of being swindled or buying fake or illegal properties? Would you like to sell or buy genuine property? Would you like to list your property on both local and international market? Don't waste your time. Call the professionals, the SGK Properties, on +260 762 166 018. SGK Properties. Your business assurance is our priority.
Welcome back. And in international news, doctors in the Democratic Republic of Congo have noticed a high rate of birth defects in babies born near cobalt mines. Demand for the metal is soaring as wealthy countries promise to switch from fossil fuels to electric vehicles. Meanwhile, Chinese lenders have rejected Uganda's request to renegotiate the contract and have taken control of Uganda's only international airport. For more international news, here's a roundup.
Chinese lenders have rejected Uganda's request to renegotiate a toxic clause in the $207 million loan used to expand the airport in the capital. Uganda has defaulted on debt repayment, triggering a takeover from lender Export-Import Bank from China. The loan was contracted in November 2015, and at the time the Ugandan government waived international immunity, exposing the airport to a future takeover without international protection. Entebbe International Airport is Uganda's only international airport and handles over 1.9 million passengers per year.
This is what the world's soaring demand for cobalt is doing to the Democratic Republic of Congo. Under each of these shelters are deep tunnels dug by hand. They often collapse. At the end of them are deposits of cobalt, of which Congo exported nearly $2 billion worth in 2019, and exports are growing fast. But the miners say they're being cheated.
We're working very hard and digging very far to take this out, but we're getting almost nothing for it. The conditions are dangerous, but we're not paid for our level of sacrifice under the ground.
And the sacrifices are great. The miners working here say when they enter the shaft, it takes them 1.5 hours to climb all the way down and then through the narrow tunnels to reach the rock face where they're cutting out the cobalt. End of their shift, it takes them even longer to climb all the way back up, and it doesn't look safe at all. There are cracks in the sides of the earth and it's propped up with tree branches and thin timbers. People here told us 2 miners were buried alive the day before we visited. When they didn't come home from work, their wives came here to find out what happened. They're waiting for the bodies to be dug out. The week before, people told us these men died here in another collapse. As soon as the bodies and debris are removed, the miners keep digging out cobalt. Nobody here can afford to stop. There aren't any other jobs for them. This is the end of a line of about 40 men that starts deep underground. About 1/5 of Congo's cobalt is dug out like this by hand. The government's planning reforms. It says it wants to make the sector safe. One rock's taken from every batch to be crushed and tested at buying stations like this one. Most of them have been taken over by Chinese companies in recent years. The amount of cobalt is measured by this machine. All the miners we spoke to say the machines are usually rigged, as are the weighing scales.
Are they taking us for fools or slaves? When we take our minerals to the Chinese, they cheat us on the quality and the weight. How can we, as Congolese, benefit from this way of working?
Days spent digging out earth or rock without any cobalt aren't paid at all. These men have had better luck. They gather at the mine's edge to divide their cash. On the best days, they say they can make about $12 each, but usually it's less than half that. Much of the cobalt will go into the batteries of the world's latest electric cars. Here, it's pushed out of the pit on old bicycles. They risk it all to dig out one of the world's most sought-after minerals, but they only see a tiny fraction of its profits. Malcolm Webb, Al Jazeera, Kolwezi, Democratic Republic of Congo.
It's now time for sports news. In sports news, Zambian striker Fashion SAKALA Jr. was on target on Sunday afternoon as he came off the bench to score the 3rd goal for Glasgow Rangers in their 3-1 win over Livingston in a Scottish Premiership encounter. The visitors were 2-0 up in the 16th minute thanks to a fine finish from Joe Aribo. The hosts, however, pulled one back at the half-hour mark through Anderson. Gio then decided it was time for a double change in the 73rd minute as Sakala replaced Ryan Kent and Nathan Patterson took the place of Ayanish Hagi. The Zambian needed just 5 minutes to head home a Tavernier corner to seal a 3-1 win for Rangers. That sporting story brings us to the end of the news, but we'll take a look at top stories once again. An opposition leader charges that things are becoming worse under the UPND administration. A Lusaka woman burns 6-year-old nephew with a hot knife. Government accused of indirect privatization for putting INDENI on care and maintenance. In international news, Chinese bank takes over Uganda's only international airport. And in sports news, Fashion SAKALA scores a Rangers win. The Camnet word verse of the day is coming from the book of Isaiah 9, verse 2-3, and it reads, "The people walking in darkness have seen a great light. A light has dawned on those living in the land of darkness. You have enlarged the nation and increased its joy." The people have rejoiced before you as they rejoice at harvest time and as they rejoice when dividing spoils. Thank you for watching Camnet TV News. My name is Jeffrey Siambo. Bye-bye.